Alright, so as my video from this morning finishes uploading, I've been working, okay? I hung the last basket, I had dirt, so I was able to pot the tomato plant. I watered them all really good, they dripped really well. That one's still dripping, I think. You know, I made it so that I have an interior layer. So these are all Swiss chard. That's a spinach and a Swiss chard. And these are all my spinach. Kinda need more plants, so I'm gonna start that today. I have a lot of room. So there they are. I got seeds. I got more seeds. You know, those guys are all done. So they have more dirt. They're pretty pot bound, so you know, maybe they'll grow some more. So while I'm doing that, I'm looking at this thing. And this is a model of the firmament of the Earth. The reason I say that is because I'm sitting here as an observer. It doesn't get better 5-to-1 code than this. And they could all be put in one pot, seeing as how they're all Swiss chard. Well, Swiss chard and spinach, but whatever. I don't talk about this much because I don't like talking about it because it's pretty bad topic. I haven't read this. I don't read, guy, and that's I read Moby Dick and I'm good. I'm good for reading, for life. I asked the old man, what book should I read before I die? And he told me he didn't say words, he just walked over and handed me Moby Dick, so I was like, okay, I'm good for reading. But I did read that page, okay? And that page of the Bible right there is the Reckoner. But not only that, I was able to, because it's creating the Earth, why wouldn't it have anything to do with our solar system? So, you know, I'm sitting here going through my childhood stuff, and, you know, I have this ruler. And this ruler has all the moons and everything, and it makes sense. Because everything's upside down, backwards, and flipped, so you don't start here, and it's not correct. You got to know the end of the story and work your way backwards and reverse engineer it all. So it's funny that they like to say that Pluto's no longer a planet, and you know, Rick and Morty and all that, but it's kind of like the key component to all this, because Pluto isn't special to say how special it is, but the moon Charon, if you remember the Boondock Saints, the moon Charon of Pluto, see, the Pluto's red, Neptune's red, Uranus is red, 12th thing created, the 5th thing, and the 2nd thing. Wow, if I ever saw a 5-to-1 code, and it's these things. There's 12, 5, and 2. These are Pluto, Uranus, or Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. So that's the moon of Charon, moon of Pluto called Charon. You see it's on the diagonal. Okay. Now, if we look at the values of the diagonal, and we look at Charon, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and then you have Io, input and output. It's the moon of moon of Jupiter, right? Yeah, moon of Jupiter. Okay. So, how many fixed rotating constellations? They don't have the stars on the ruler, but the stars, which are the 40th thing created here, there's 88 fixed rotating constellations. The 40th thing created is here. It's to the left of the 76. It would be this 28. Of the 28 lunar months we have, of 13 days each for 364 days in a year. Anyway, why are there 88 fixed? Oh, 2 8s. 2 8s are 8-8. Oh, okay. Well, how else do you get 88? Well, if that's a 69, that would be a 79. Oh, sorry, 69, 70, 71. And because we were just counting these all as ones, like that 69 is a 1. Like, it's a 1 thing. That one's a 1, that one's a 1. Okay, like this 13 has to be a 1, and that 76 has to be a 1. No, a 3 and a 1 is a 4, and a 7 and a 6 is a 13. 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. 85, 86, 87, 88. 88 fixed rotating constellations, shown to you on the diagonal quadrant, representing Charon, a moon of Pluto, Neptune, which is a planet, and Uranus is a planet. And everything in between gets kind of skipped over because it's what's needed to create the 4x4 or the 5x5. Now, what does this have to do with the Bible? Well, you're creating lights in the Bible, and I told you what the lights represent. The light represent the planets and the sun and the moon and the stars and the galaxies, and everything that's in the sky has been accounted for on my reckoner. Hey, look at that. I finally had time to look up at the ceiling. Anyway, it's processing. So I'm sitting here looking at this going, there's 5. I say there should be 5 cellular energy devices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 2 different types of plants, and these are all the same type of plants. So what if we have 1 cellular energy device, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all connected together? Well, how many continents are there in Earth? Not only that, what are the instructions? And there was light. Okay? And then the second day happened, the third day happened. And on the 4th day, you know, all the lights in the sky. Anyways, it's the firmaments I want to talk about. A firmament to... I should just read it. I don't want to read it. There's a firmament and a firmament to separate the waters from the waters. To separate the waters from the waters. I just spent a lot of time. The reason I like these hanging plant baskets is because they have their own reservoir inside that's separated from the dirt so the dirt doesn't sit in the water. And I open them all up and they all drip because I want to make sure my reservoir is full and there's water in my dirt. So that throughout the day, or maybe into the next day, I don't have to water them all the time because they have a backup. Same with these. You either top water them or you bottom water them. You can't do both. If you do both, you're going to get root rot. Now, with these, fill them from the bottom. With those, you have to fill them from the top because there's no other way to fill them. This is a firmament separating the waters from the waters. Now, the firmament, remember how that kind of gave me an idea how to physically represent it in 3D? Well, you start from the center. When you start from the center is where I think that the reservoir should be. Remember that I think they're supposed to be 6/7 filled with water? This is a reservoir, okay? It's a shape within a shape. It's your platonic solids. You have an icosahedron at the center, and a dodecahedron would represent this, which is perfect. It's the 5 testicles for the 5 cellular energy devices. Not the 5 cellular energy devices, but every cellular energy device is going to have a firmament on the outside, the dodecahedron, and on the inside, like the pink thing here is the dodecahedron, and it would have 5 testicles. These 5 testicles would run straws. So imagine like looking at this plant and thinking there's water in the dirt, there's water in the tube, but then you have straws pipating it up into here, and it's a closed system. And if it's closed systems, theoretically the vapor should never go anywhere. It can be changed to to different types of water elements, but it should theoretically not go anywhere and recycle. Recycle to cycle the water. Now, if you're rotating, again, every axle is going to have a little notch taken out of it, like a Pac-Man. So if you have an axle which is a circle and rotate that in water, it's not going to do very much. But if you have an axle with a little cut out of it and that rotates in water, it's going to create a fierce eddy current in the water. An eddy current is a whirlpool. Now, finish processing. Now, if you have a firmament, this container, and you're going to pierce it 14 times with axles spinning, it's going to start to lose liquid from the hole. So it doesn't matter how fast those eventually start spinning. Maybe the eddy current draws the water away from the hole so it stops losing water, but there is going to be an initial spill. Which is why the firmament needs to be caught by the other firmament, and there has to be a way to pipette everything back to the source, to go through the system again, to be a closed system, a closed loop. And I find it funny that our pop bottles have, 5 testicles. I think there should be 5 cellular energy devices, and there's 5 continents, because North America and South America are kind of the same, and the same thing with Europe and Asia. Africa, Australia, Antarctica, Americas, Eurasia. 5. Now, if they had 5 devices running, and they're spinning, and there's 6/7 filled with water, and you create a bubble underneath where all your axles are going from all the directions, 6 on the faces, 8 on the vertices, and they're spinning underneath the water. The water's going to want to leave until it spins fast enough and your eddy current becomes wide enough that nothing else is falling out of the hole. Whatever's falling out of the hole will be caught by this, but eventually, hopefully, this will stop catching stuff, and it's just kind of there. It's a firmament within the firmament. It's basically a pop bottle inside a pop bottle. Okay? So you got to think that there's a shape inside there holding 6/7 full of water, and another shape on the outside that has to have 5 testicles with 5 pipettes going back in there that can all be 3D printed. And when these axles are all spinning under the water, I think it'll contain a bubble in the middle of all the axles. Where is it? Yeah. Where they all meet and converge, there's going to be a space about the size of a ping pong ball. Now, that could be a continent. And maybe in his model in his lab, he has to get it. This one spinning fast enough, 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 this one spinning fast enough. And then I think you have to have a fishbowl of water, and you put it somewhere in the room. So let's say we have one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, and one over here somewhere. This is the fishbowl in the layout of the room. So you have a bunch of devices everywhere. And you have a final one over here somewhere, where the seed's being planted. That one's just a bowl of water. And maybe, just maybe, because we're talking like kind of crazy, creating worlds, kind of like Thanos, Galactus kind of Marvel comic stuff, each of these becomes an illusion of them all merged together as one in this final bubble. The 2 firmaments into one, 5-to-1 code. Duality. 5 is the center. Every cube has 6 faces and 8 vertices. That sums to 14, and you need 5 devices. Anyway, I was sitting here just going like, look at that. It's an example of cellular energy sections. Maybe you got to converge the 2 different species to one, but 5 ways. And then they become a 1. Like a 14, like this one tray is a 1 with those 4. As a new unit or layer of the Russian doll. Look at those guys. Woo-wee. They're the size of my thumb. But, yeah, math. Trying to relate the creation of the lights, which you can go watch videos. That, again, everything. What's it called? The movie I have. It's called Into the Wild. I had to get here before, since I'm here. Right before he dies, what does he say? To call everything by its right name. Its right name. Its right name. Its right name. Its right name.